Just a century ago, the Wright brothers flew the first aircraft capable of powered flight for just 12 seconds. And today, here we are trying to send humans to Mars. It has always been difficult to do these kind of things. But one thing that has always been difficult is the nature of the rocket equation itself. It is the biggest obstacle in our path. It's somewhat nonsensical using tons and tons of fuel just to transport more fuel along with a comparatively minuscule payload into the orbit. But now, propulsion technology is about to be revolutionized with what is known as ion propulsion. So welcome to Scientifically Yours, and today we are going to talk about this very piece of space technology. Now, a quick side note. This technology has been around since the late 90s. And agencies like NASA have used it on several missions. But in recent months, this technology has reached its second generation. By using ion propulsion, we are not only minimizing the fuel, but we are also maximizing the capacity of the payload. This means that smaller and cheaper rockets can deliver a payload into the orbit that previously required a huge rocket to be delivered. Okay, first let's get into the machinery. Ion propulsion is carried out by what is known as an ion drive. Take the N-Star ion drive for example, used on now retired Dawn spacecraft. This engine used xenon as a propellant because it has a high atomic mass, allowing it to provide a larger thrust for every atom that is thrown out of the exhaust. It is also inert and has a high storage density. The engine has a large cylindrical compartment called as the ionization chamber. The engine releases these xenon atoms along with high energy electrons into this chamber. These electrons collide with the xenon atoms, knocking out additional electrons from the xenon atom, making it positively charged. This process is called as ionization. These electrons, along with those knocked out, are collected by the positively charged chamber walls, while the xenon ions migrate towards the chamber exit due to the pressure created in the chamber. The exit contains two metal grids, a positively charged screening grid and a negatively charged grid called the accelerator grid. The high electrical potential between these grids causes the positive ions to accelerate and shoot out of the exhaust at speeds up to 145,000 km per hour. At this speed, even the tiny xenon atoms can provide a decent thrust. But still, the maximum capacity of thrust for this engine was just 0.092 newtons, about the same force a piece of paper exerts on your hand. So what's the catch? You see, when you're in space, there is no air to slow you down. This means that there is no drag and there is no friction. This means that the velocity of the object will increase progressively. So at this rate, if we calculate the kinetic energy, this engine can give a decent 1-ton payload, a velocity of 566 meters per second within a week. Just multiply it by a year and the payload has the velocity of 2890 meters per second. That is 8.5 Mach or 8.5 times the speed of sound. But wait, there's more. The next generation ion drives can provide 3 times this force. This is an incredible piece of space technology capable of several long-term missions. You have to keep it in mind that all the energy for this propulsion is coming directly from the solar panels. Moreover, this engine has no moving parts, reducing the wear and tear of the machinery. Although this technology is in its relative infancy, who knows what will happen in a few years. Thanks for watching.